Yo, welcome to Red River Podcast. We get to, you know, we have Bryan Maher here from Blackfeet Youth again, probably third or fourth time.
Hello.
He wanted to come on for episode 187. I feel like we shot our nut a little too early, you know what I mean? But because 187 just, I don't know what was the significance of 187 other than Dre and these
That was
fucking
it. I
headphones.
want to go 187 on a motherfucking cop on this shit, dude, But
Ah, yeah, yeah.
that was all I wanted, man. But I mean, the
That
fact
makes
you even
sense.
tried to make it happen, being your least illustrious guest, like I really appreciate it.
Oh, there's so many there. Yeah, I mean, we just had Parker on. You couldn't get more least illustrious than that.
No, Parker actually in like the grand scale of like luminaries, I think Parker's higher than me in like the level. I'm not selling out fucking
Don't
Warsaw,
sell
dude.
yourself short.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short. You know, you're
Yeah,
you're
man.
you're one Kiem last name away from selling out Warsaw too.
I know, I'm gonna get there. I'm
Uh,
gonna get there.
yeah, for sure. Right now, I'm staring at my fucking orange cat about to like knock something over. God, he's
Is
such a
he gonna
little
pounce
shit.
down on you? Like fucking
Nah, he's just like fucking like, man, he's just mad disrespectful, man. And he knows that I can't just get up and be unprofessional and stop the podcast that's going out to the 10 people, including Rob Link. Man, what's up, Rob Link? How you doing?
shout out to Link
uh
out there.
yeah. Anyway, so all right, you know uh, you have a new record, so I figured let's just talk about the new record. Because you're like me, someone that just continuously makes music. I mean, you have such a extensive like catalog. So let's just talk some goddamn music. What the fuck is 59X Records? Like, what is that?
They're a record label, collective boutique label, however the parlance of the day is now, with the marketing terms. But they're based out of Atlanta, and they had signed us back to a deal in like 2015. I mean, it took a while to get our first record done because we went down there and recorded it and whatnot.
How'd
And
you link
then
with a label from fucking Atlanta?
the interwebs. And no, actually, the president was originally from Long Island, so it was a guy that I knew. He was actually when he was like a kid, he was like an intern at Killingsworth Studio where we used to record. So he kind of like hung out with us when he was like a high school kid and watching us drink and hang out with like all the girls who hung around the studio and whatnot and stuff. And he just continued with it, and he built the studio. He became an amazing mixing engineer. I mean, this kid can really take any recording and make it sound fantastic. It is pretty amazing. With Peter Catalano is his name, what he can do.
Why did
So
he go to Atlanta? Just
because
curious.
that's where life took him. He ended up. I think he went to Clemson, so he stayed. That's out in South Carolina, so I think he
Okay.
just naturally kept going more south.
Okay.
And he played in bands and whatnot. I mean, while he was living away, his his band toured up through the Midwest, and we linked up with him in like Cincinnati and did a gig. I was like sick as a dog at that gig, but I was good seeing him, and we always remained cool. So like when he started this thing, he was like, I like to do something with Black Youth. I felt you guys didn't get your due. I want to try to help you. And listen, anytime anybody wants to like pay to make your record and put it out, you say yes. So you don't have to.
Honestly, that is completely the case for sure. And obviously, like you said, Killingsworth, like, right, that's the name of the place. Like, that was like Tomas, right?
Yeah, Tomas Costanza of Diffuser, who apparently I think they may be getting back together. But
Yeah.
he had that studio after he left that band. And it was just like a vibe, man, from like 2000 and like four to like 2008. That place, you just go there any night of the
Well,
week. People were always hanging out and partying. It was wild.
because I
And we had a room
remember,
there. Yeah,
yeah, I remember the Magnetic North guys went
of
there.
course. They had the back room. They had room three. We had room one or A or C, whatever. So
And
yeah,
it
we
was
came in. We toured with them.
it was the first time I remember like linking up with Pete. Well, I mean, we were friends because Rich played on like the first Playing Dead EP, which is 20 years old today. Or
That's
like a
wild,
few,
man.
I think, I don't remember, maybe it's not today, but like side note, I was like, yo, what if we like took those five songs and just redid them today? Because I couldn't sing. Like when there, those five songs were unlistenable because I didn't know how to sing. I was
Who
always,
could? I mean,
but I mean, like I was always playing backup guitar and singing
yeah.
backup. So it's like, okay. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to try to sing lead. But anyway, that was the first time I remember guys that I knew being like, hey, there's this producer, and they would talk about working with Tomas. And like obviously Into It just had these longer songs, which was the band that turned into Magnetic North. And then, next thing you know, they have these songs that are just literally like 15 seconds before this big chorus hits.
No fat, just hook, 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 banger. Like we were,
Yeah.
we were like sitting in the control room when they were tracking that EP, and it was some were sitting there listening to them recording that song only as directed, and we were like, "Geez, if we could sound half as good as this, we're gonna be good." You know what I mean? Like it was awesome how good that stuff sounded. Like
Yeah. And, Dave Case is just, to this day, Dave currently plays in the band Helmet, plays bass with them, touring wherever the hell he is right now. But he was always just like a little extra better than everyone else.
he just has
Right.
that je ne sais quoi. He's got an amazing voice, great
Yeah.
guitar player, great singer, just better sense of art history than most of the rest of us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But he was always
you
like,
know,
he would play whatever position was needed,
yeah.
like you know, bass player just playing bass to guitar player singing backup to lead singer, to the Exploder One stuff, which was like pretty unique for that
I love
time.
Exploder One, man.
Yeah, they were a
I
lot of
still have
fun.
that. I
Yeah,
still have
I
that
want.
fucking first record on the back of it. It's like got a diagram of how to open a condom and throw it in the trash and burn it. Said it was
Yeah,
recorded at the Hit Factory by Rick Rubin. Like they had the best sense of humor. Those guys are
they
hysterical.
did. So instead of I want my MTV, no, I want your
Yeah,
STD. Yeah, it was
I want
great.
your CD. Yeah. But I
Yeah,
mean, but Magnetic North. I mean, the level of talent in that band. I mean, we were on the road with them. And just we watched them night after night, and we were like, dude. I mean, the Growl brothers
yeah.
killing it on like drums and keyboards. Rich, obviously, Eric. Like, all those guys were so damn good. Like, they
Well,
were just so tight. And it made us
that's
better every night. We're like, we got to play as good as these guys. So it made us have to like really work hard. Like,
that that's why we got so like for the first EP was Freddie on drums for us and Rich on lead guitar. And that's why when you listen to the music, it's still cool. And we ended up adding like a cello player. Basically my mind of
that's one
songwriting
does.
my songwriting mind,
Obviously.
my songwriting mind was way ahead of my abilities. Like my abilities were like, I don't know what we're doing. And my brain, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna bring in the fucking
The
November
problem, man,
rain.
is you're just a walking concert, man. That's what it is. It's all in there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I was pretty terrible at it, but yeah. So like, working with a producer, basically. I know that this one you guys self-produced, right? Did you guys? When was the last time you actually used a producer that was going in there to like
It was
fucking
like
like?
50-50 on the last record. The world's almost over, just because of by nature of the pandemic. We couldn't do everything we wanted to do in Atlanta, and we did have it in New York. So we had to work via remote, which just wasn't when the guy's not in the room with you, hands on. It is different. I mean, we would send cuts and demos, and we'd get notes back, and we don't, if we agreed with them or didn't, we'd try it, whatever. But it's different when the guy's in the room with you, being like, "What the fuck are you doing? That should be an A, not
Yeah,
an A sharp, fucko." Like. But Tomas was the lord of that. I mean, like Pete's fairly easygoing. He can definitely be high strung at certain points, but Tomas, you'd be attempting to a song, you'd be like, "Stop, garbage, throw it out, try again." Or we thought we'd have a sick song. You'd be like, "The song has no fucking chorus. It has an A part and a B part, but that's not a verse and a chorus." And you have to start recognizing that and recognizing how to employ tension and release and like dynamics,
yeah.
things that when you're a 4/4 skate punk, you don't really think in that dynamic. You think dynamic is just the Bad Religion oohs and ahs to make the chorus bigger, like
No, you're right. When tension and release is big, absolutely very big. Dynamics very big. But also you have to trust someone. Like like if
oh yeah.
I just remember like hearing those stories of Tomas, and I've never met the guy, and obviously he's had success. But like at that age, at that point in my life, I was watching. I just couldn't understand how they would let someone do that because I didn't really even back then, like those early 2000s, I didn't really understand what a producer was.
Well,
I
he
didn't
had
understand.
credentials. He had gone further than any of the rest of us.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
came out of the same clubs and he made it to the fucking Playboy Mansion. You know what I mean? Like we're like, whoa, he's got toured Japan. He had a song on the Mission Impossible soundtrack. Like to that,
And you
that's
listen to it.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
that's the highest. Yeah. Now, initially, don't get me wrong, I was a hard headed, brash youth. And when I first encountered him when I was in the Neverenders, and we butted heads. We didn't really hit it off so well off the beginning, and I ended up kind of our not being able to get along got me bounced out of that band. So then it was funny that I came back to him to produce Black Sea Youth, when it was called the New York Dynamite, whatever, because I saw what he did for the band I was in and how the night and day difference, and I was like, and I saw that people and girls were actually coming to their shows now because they had better songs, and I wanted that. I didn't want to keep playing for the same six dudes,
Shout out
So
to Rob
you're like,
Link once again.
and I'm still playing a Rob Link, and I still
And Greg.
appreciate every word of wisdom and criticism he has because he'll always tell you how it is.
I fucking love when I see Rob, when we're playing and I see Rob, like I don't even care. I'm like, as long as like tonight when you guys are playing Bar Frida tonight, right?
Yeah,
So that's very close to you. We're Cover Me Bad's going to do some covers for St. Patty's at that Long Beach place.
nice.
And hopefully Rob will be there because it just it makes the show that much stronger.
Of
Unless he's
course.
going to be in Queens, who knows? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, our show is going to be pretty loose. We got Fed's actually away in Florida, and we have a fill-in drummer, Brian Contreras, our old drummer, is filling back in, and he hasn't played with us in a long time. And we had one rehearsal, but Choke City, our boys, they're doing a gig. Lou's coming up from Florida, so we didn't want to miss it. And we love all the Sunken Temple guys and shit, so wanted to definitely be there representing. So we
So
put
three
together
piece?
something. We're gonna be the most insane, fucking triangle offense since the '96 Bulls. Man, we're ready. We're gonna do this shit.
So I know the deal. Like the last few times we played Bar Frida, we played it two members short every single time. One
Yeah,
was Rich didn't show up, so we had no leads, and then the other one, Jason wasn't there. Actually, yeah, that's the one you were at.
and it makes
Um,
you, you know what? It's a less cozy stage. Then you have a little more room to breathe.
a little bit more room. So, like, what do you do for the set list for a three piece?
Sometimes I would just play some of the leads, but honestly, we're just gonna Ramones it this time. We're gonna play tunes. It's just gonna be like Green Day, where there's another verse and there's no fucking solo. I don't care. It's rock and roll. Like I used to be so strict about stuff, or we used to just overkill, study long, study wrong, over rehearse, and it's like, you know what? We go and do a gig without him rehearsing, and we're better now. You know what I mean? We know what we're doing. We've been doing this for so many fucking years. It's gonna be what it is. It'll be loose. It'll be fun. We picked out the songs that were easiest for him to learn and ones he already knew. That's kind of the genesis of how it's going to be for Brian, the guy filling in on drums.
Um,
So he learned a
yeah,
bunch of new songs, of course, because we have a record out, so we would want to play some of it. But
yeah.
we went back to, all right, he knows this song, he knows this song. Let's make it easier for the guy. I mean?
Let's go back to the label thing. So this dude, like, how the relationship basically started there, and then from there, False South was the first thing that you guys did together.
Yeah. We put that out. It did pretty good for us. I mean, for a band that didn't exist for like 5 years to come back and do that, started to get some attention. I was doing the podcast when that first came out. And then we went back to do our second record. Our drummer left, B. Nelson, who's an amazing, amazing like live and studio drummer, who we're lucky enough he wants to play with us because he's
He's
ridiculous.
he's a character, man. So
I know.
like Lee messages me pure nonsense sometimes, and it's very
I know
funny.
he likes you,
And
man.
yeah, I'm a Lee fan. I think I might even go see. So Langan Lee
Yeah.
is in a bunch of bands, including
Okay.
a Def Leppard tribute band that's playing
Oh,
He was
shit.
Riverhead.
hanging out. He was fucking hanging out with
Really?
Rick Allen the other day, dude.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
this place on Main Street, that theater. I did see some ad, I think, pop in for that. What's the
yeah.
name of the band? Does it have like a
Adrenalize.
play on? Okay,
Adrenalize.
it's got to have a play on a Def
Yeah, of
Leppard
course.
song. That's the rules for that. No,
Well,
but
they
awesome.
picked the best album to name themselves after for sure. So hopefully we get
Not
some
a
Let's Go.
fan. Shout out
I
fucking Steve Clark, baby, forever.
no,
Is
100%.
Adrenalize the one with the that had the video,
Let's
Yeah.
get
that
rocked.
computer? Yes,
Yes.
Yeah,
with the
Yeah.
kid walking
that was on
down
with
the street.
Vivian Campbell on most. Oh no, actually, he's in the videos, but I don't think he even played on the record. I think Phil Cullen did all the guitars on that whole album.
Okay, all right.
There's some okay songs on there, but that was like the beginning of like the dip for sure.
Well, that
Yeah.
song from The Last Action Hero was on that record, right?
two
That
two steps
Stalker song.
behind.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
mean, where do you go after you've made this? I mean, like, there's only going down from there. I mean, as far
Yeah.
as the album was,
Yeah.
how many did that sell? I mean, I can't even fucking comprehend.
But
Yeah, I mean, you made literally a technological masterpiece that cannot be replicated even by yourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, it is what
but
it is.
yeah, so
yep.
Lee rules. I mean the whole team really, Lee, Juan and Federico, or I mean I guess we'll go with Fed. But you put together like a team of kind of like
Ferdinand
ringers.
is his actual name, by the way.
What is it? Oh, is it Ferdinand?
Ferdinand, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, your boy Ferdinand. But you put together like this like really like ringer team, So like how did even like that how did those pieces start coming together?
They just found me, man. I mean, we'd been through, as the band recoalesced in that era, we had a couple of drummers and bass players. I mean, this band's had 13, 14 bass players by this point. I mean, they're hard to keep, but Juan's been in it for a long time. Fed, he was his band had just split, and then he was looking for a band, so he came and hung out with us, and like we're like, this guy is ridiculous. Like, felt
Well,
like we were
he
trying
played
out for him, you
well
know.
he,
I
he
mean,
played
like,
in King Diamond tribute band, right?
yeah, but he was in a band called
Oh
Cold
shit.
Steel, and he was in Mr. Clean, that was like a cover band that was like slowing down at that point, so he had a lot of freedom,
Yeah,
so he came and played.
he definitely like, obviously you're not, we're not in the business of shred music, but you could tell when he's got a solo in one of your songs, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
this guy looks like he's gearing up to do something real fancy, and he fucking like he
dude. I mean,
doesn't
we're
even
still to
look.
this day we're at like sound check, and the other bands run over and just start watching him. It's hysterical. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what the fuck is going on?
But like I said, all all three of them are very good. So,
Yeah, dude. I mean,
um,
I honestly, when I play with these guys, man, when it comes to like their big moments to shine, I feel like Yanni live at the Acropolis. And I look over and I'm like, I know that guy's about to do the sickest shit. And then it's like Lee's gonna do the craziest fill, Like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, I know
And
the team I have is gonna do wild stuff. It's awesome.
also, the thing that Lee does is he sings.
Yeah, he's a better singer than I'll ever be. And same thing with Fed. They're all better than me. I'm
Which is
lucky. I'm like a dude who I'm carried by all of them. Like I just have the ability to put songs together and have the patience to do it. That's all I can bring.
and that's the
Is
important
that,
part because everyone has the
I was just
position.
gonna say, if you write all the songs, or you guys like collaborate, like what's your process with?
It's everything. Like I'll write them start to finish. I'll come in with a skeleton. They'll rip it apart. We'll
Right.
just be jamming, and a song will appear. One of them will have something, and then I'll work on it. Yada yada. I mean, it comes from everywhere. Usually. It's just hard to see what rises to the surface.
Sure.
Like
What just like you could ask me the same thing, but like, what keeps you playing?
I just every time I'm like, after this one, that'll probably be it. Then I wake up one day and I have something in my head. I'm like, oh, I got it. Now I got to live long enough to finish this song. Or it's just like always wanted to get. It's in you. It's never going to come out. Like I mean, now I'm sitting here playing guitar for my kid most of the time, and I'll run little parts by him and see how he bobs to it. Like it's fun. But yeah, it's
How old is your
just
son now?
15 months. So he can
Wow.
stand on my leg and like I'll play and he'll like rock back and forth, or he'll be like that sucks and crawl away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
hysterical.
Brian, laying up there, your son's already, you know,
He's playing,
the
right?
yeah, the trajectory really,
Yeah.
like he went from
Yeah.
like not. I remember you're like he doesn't even like music to now he's like in the house band.
It's wild,
It's
man.
crazy. Yeah, I used to have to be like, yo, practice, practice, practice. You got to put in your half hour or something. Now it's
Yeah.
like, it's the best. There's nothing better.
Yeah.
It's
We
how is that having a son? I mean, that's like it's changes, upends your whole life, man, for the greatest reasons. How has that
Yeah, of course. And
been?
it's like it puts in perspective like what's really important. The shit I would get like bent about that wasn't
Mm,
going right, I just don't fucking care anymore. Like it's just like once you've
yeah,
just changed so much poop diapers, or you've had to like take your kid to the hospital, you're dealing with like your wife, or like he had kind of a traumatic entry into the world. My wife like ended up having to have like surgeries and stuff after birth, so like she was kind of off the board in certain ways. So it was just a lot of times it's me and him and just getting real close, and just this person who just looks up and depends on you for everything. I mean, like if you don't put the bottle in that mouth, that kid's not eating, So it's like, it's a higher level of responsibility. So it's like, you know what? All this other stuff can wait. I ain't worried about it, like it really does change your outlook on everything, of course.
Sure.
Yo,
Yeah.
for someone like me that just does never, it's just not in the cards ever whatsoever. But I do enjoy watching like my friends' kids like grow up and do stuff. Like when I watch your son's video, and I'm thinking like, holy shit, Cover Me Bad has to learn Misery Business by Paramore, and there your son's playing it. And we're like, we should ask him how to do it. But
Yeah, text him for
They
some
got a
tips.
gig tomorrow for in at Bellport Brewery or something. For like
yeah,
he learned like fucking 25 songs like
yeah,
this last week. It's
that's the
ridiculous.
when,
beauty.
I'm
That
when
like,
you're
dude, you're
young like
so
that
much
too.
better than I've ever than I
That's the
ever
beauty.
got
The beauty of
already.
having nothing to worry about. Are that? Yeah, he knows that you're downstairs working hard. He's like, I
Paying
got,
for School of Rock.
yeah, yeah, I'll
But
rock
that
these.
age
But
too, you're such a sponge. You can like learn like 20 songs like pretty quick. Today it's like
I know.
it's just not you're putting it in your brain. It's falling right out because you got all this other stuff you got to worry
Oh
about.
yeah.
Like
It's
like
full of
Kelly
other
Bundy,
shit.
oh
like
yeah,
Kelly Bundy forgets that the first thing. But going back to what I was saying, like like having a kid would be. I don't know. Like I would be nervous about everything. Like, sleeping through the night, being like, is he
of
breathing?
course
Like just
you are.
everything, right?
Every first time I gave him solid food, I'm like, am I going to choke this kid to death? Like it's the most terrifying thing in the world,
Yeah.
Like, but
Sometimes you like
yeah.
look in the room, make sure they're breathing while they're sleeping.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, all
I
right
bet.
there.
I imagine. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's that a couple of times. I mean, I was giving him his bottle when he was very little. You have to always hold his head to support him because he doesn't have any neck muscle. And he kind of moved back a little bit, and like it was a little like snap. I'm like, is he paralyzed? I'm like, what did I do?
Oh my
Like, but he's
God.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
just
yeah.
his bones cracking because he's got some air in there.
You
Sure.
will
But th-
you'll definitely have to forfeit that number one dad mug if you broke his neck for
oh
sure.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, but they're also more resilient and robust than you think too.
Big time.
I
Yeah.
mean, one time he almost rolled off the couch and I did like a dive and caught him. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be in so much trouble if that fucking happened. Now he jumps
You,
off,
Dude,
so I'm all right. But
dude, my
you
son was in this thing called like the nap nanny, which was like it's the only way he'd sleep. It was this piece of foam that was contoured and you're strapped in it. And he was rocking back and forth on and it was on the couch and bam, turned
oh,
over,
oh.
face plant. I thought the same thing he did. I was like, that's it. I'm like, my life is over. That's it.
your wife is gonna
Fine,
be
man.
like, what did you do?
Yeah. I felt
She was
the
there too,
blood drain
thankfully.
from my
Otherwise,
face.
if I was like by myself, it would have been over for me.
But but yeah, it's like it is amazing. I mean, now like he's talking, he addresses you. It's so interesting. Like he's got a new word every couple of days. He's trying new things. It's so much fun. And like which he loves music. Like he's playing stuff all the time, all different stuff. Some things he rocks out to, some things he's not sure about. It's interesting.
Yeah,
How long
sure.
before you show him Revenge of the Nerds?
I think I first saw that. I think the first time I saw that movie, my
You're
grandma
probably
was
yeah.
babysitting me, and it was just on TV. It's like when you're with your parents and you see boobs. Imagine being with grandma, having some
Yeah,
tea and cookies, and like
the hair
you're face
pipe
to face with
comes
the
out.
panty raid. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There were times. So just recently I had that situation. I was in Arizona
He's
and
on a panty raid.
no, no.
Jesus, dude.
But I
You were
was
at Lake
watching.
Havasu. What were you doing?
So I'm like sitting at Karen's mom's house. Karen falls asleep and they're watching White Lotus, and it's only me and her mom still awake. Karen's sleeping, and it gets to this scene in White Lotus where they're like having
Aubrey Plaza.
pretty fucking no, it was like two dudes, like they were like banging, get like total
Oh,
full on gay sex.
yes.
And I was just like, I mean, listen, we're both two grown adults, but like, I was like, man, I wish Karen was awake to like break this like silence right now because we just like sat there and I was in
I would have been
silence.
like, man, anybody else got a boner? What's up, man?
A great technique, am I right?
And just recently, my friend Rick, shout out to Rick Collins out in Jersey. I don't know why I didn't even put two and two together. I was telling him how amazing Poor Things was. And he's like, "Oh, they're closing this 100-year theater in Chatham. I want to take my daughter to see a movie. Maybe we'll go see that. I didn't think anything of it. Yeah.
Ooh.
So he fucking like calls me like a day or two later. He's like, bro, he's like, I took my daughter and her boyfriend to see Poor Things before the
God.
closing. He's like,
And now I'm
pretty
getting charged as a sex offender.
pretty awkward. I was like, oh shit, your daughter and her boyfriend too. I mean, what's worse, just you and your daughter, or your daughter and her boyfriend?
Dude, my
Like,
Yeah,
parents,
that movie, forget about it.
I
yeah,
remember sitting in the theater with my parents and watching like Tango and Cash and like fucking Roadhouse. Like, things weren't what you thought they were going to be, you know. But yeah, that one,
yeah.
my parents actually went to go see Poor Things. Like, it's nothing but sex. You know?
There was a lot of sex going on in there for
So
sure. I mean,
much.
100% still the best movie of 2023 in my opinion, for sure. Fuck Oppenheimer and its complete boredom. 3 hour movie about
You weren't
nothing.
just mystified by Killian Murphy's like vampiric eyes over and over again.
I mean, that's the only thing that kept me awake. Did you watch Oppenheimer?
Not yet. I can only consume things in small bites now. So
You're right.
basically, I'm watching like How To with Williams, the guy who films in my neighborhood, whatever, the HBO show where he puts all the clips together and makes jokes out of it. Basically, it's a
Oh,
fun show.
is
I've
that Nathan
seen that
Felder?
up. I was going to press play.
It's
That's
very funny, but it's all around my neighborhood. So I'm always like, oh, he's at the fucking
it's
the
not it's not
bakery today. You know,
Not
it's not
Nathan
it's
Sam,
not I
I
thought it
don't
was
think.
Nathan
No.
Felder. Okay.
it's
Uh,
produced by Nathan Felder. They're like connected,
Okay,
but
that makes
it's
sense.
that kind of sense of humor. That other show with Nathan Felder where like he takes people and like recreates like he's
That's
built Alligator
Oh
Lounge
fucking
in
my
a
God.
soundstage.
yo,
It's like
Yeah.
insane.
they rebuilt that's the one I watched. They rebuilt Alligator Lounge and I was like, what? Like, how do you even come
Bananas.
up with the concept of that show? It was like
That show was bonkers. That
it
show
was
was literally.
so fucking weird. Yo,
That
it was
dude's taking
so
big
weird.
swings, man. That the
I know
curse, like
it's
I'm
so
always he's
original.
one of those people, whatever, when I hear he's got something coming out, I'm gonna check it out because I know it's gonna be, an event.
Let's go through this record, right?
Yeah,
So Everybody Loves Revenge. I mean, I have a theory as to what that title means after listening to
I
the
love
title
that
track.
title.
I mean, it's just basically how us as a society just, loves revenge, and if you kill me, I got to kill two of you.
Yeah, I mean, I love revenge. I always tell my wife my 3 R's are rock and roll, arena, and revenge. You know, like you got to have that. I was always very big on it. You know, these days it's kind of I'm a little less into it as I used to be. You know, maybe because I see all the revenge on the subway left and right. You know,
Yeah.
but like,
Hey,
Wow.
there was some revenge on that one guy, and I was like, you know what? If more people did that, then fuck it. It's like you pull out a gun on someone and he takes it and shoots you in the head. You
yeah,
earn that one.
exactly, man. You got pop with your own piece. You know,
That's
like
it.
the,
I saw that full video. Crazy.
I know I watched it as
Did you?
well. I mean,
Oh, I didn't
I'll
get the full one.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
you stay off the A, stay off the A, stay off the floor. Sometimes not. You know,
But yeah, so tell us about Revenge. Was I
you
slightly
know,
right as I
that
cut you
song
off?
was just like that was like one of those songs I wrote in like 2 seconds. It kind of sounded like a kind of rocket from the crypt kind of vibe, and I
I
kind of
can see
wanted to put
that.
a saxophone solo in the break, but then I thought it would be too much like that shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of just had that kind of vibe. Like everyone loves revenge. I don't know. It just it's one of those ones that just stream of consciousness poured out. It just had the riff. I'm like, it just came out. I'm like, everybody loves revenge, you know?
Interesting that you say Rocket too. Like I love John Reese. Like
Oh
everything
yeah.
that guy does is pretty fucking
He had a
wild.
band and they're called the Sultans, and like I downloaded their shit and like it vanished. Like like every now and then, like when you had iTunes, sometimes things just vanish from the iTunes store. Like, and then I could never find it again. It was a good record, but
Oh, and
yeah. So then
plosives was like the new thing that he did
yeah,
with the guy from Pinback. But I mean,
luminary band there.
it was enough to basically, I guess, listen, naming a record, naming songs, like you're good with lyrics. I think you're good with words. You're good with lyrics. Where I feel like I have a harder time doing them. Like I feel like I have more songs than I have do lyrics, but I don't
Well,
ever really feel like that's your problem.
it depends. It works sometimes. I mean, certain songs just come out, and I really only have to like rewrite or tweak certain parts. or I'll come up with a better line. Usually, right when we're about to record it, that day something even better hits. Like I'm lucky with that. But then there's certain songs where like I've rewritten them 14 times. Like there's a couple songs we didn't put on the record. There was one I think I did the verses like 9 times, and I just recut it, and still it's just not where it is. And like the thing with working with Pete, like he's cool as shit with it, but like we record a lot of songs, and sometimes it sucks. He puts all this work into something, and if we feel like it's below standard, we don't put it out. So we got like about an album's worth of like B sides now, and that's usually the case of it. It's like I just feel like it's always like me. I feel like I'm not selling a part of it right. I didn't get the lyrics right. I didn't sing this as good as I could have. It's never the other guys. I think,
Well, it's always going to be that way because we're the
yeah,
singers, and the thing with us is like in a band, we're melody driven bands, and if we ruin the song,
yeah.
then the whole song is ruined.
Or
No
a
one's
song
going to
just
be
not
like,
working. Yeah,
yeah,
like
or
sometimes I have it.
they're going to be like, oh, that drum beat is cool. Like, sure, they could say that
Yeah,
stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like, we're writing these hooks because that's the type of band that we are. And if the singer ruins the song, like you or I, there's certain songs that we've done that I can't even listen to because I'm like, this is so bad.
or there's many ways you can ruin. There's one I ruined that I didn't necessarily sing bad, but we didn't put on the record because I had this idea. I wanted to do like a song that's like kind of like No Use for a Name, like or like Dylan or something, where like there's no chorus, even though like there's repeating parts. It's just a story through and through type thing where like it doesn't repeat. And I just it just didn't work. I don't know. It was the first time I really tried something like that since I was like younger and writing songs like that. But since I learned how to write songs, I had to like deconstruct that out of my head because now I only think in terms of hooks and shit. So I tried to go back to my like more inexperienced self,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
I, I fucking couldn't do it. I shit the bed on it. I should have just wrote a chorus for the song, and it would have been better.
Learning how to write songs is like a blessing and a curse, because when you're younger, it's like you're listening to bands like Braid or the Get Up Kids or these older records that really have no, like, it's like there's 20 different parts and they're all good.
Oh yeah, the sky's
And
the
then
limit.
and then one day you hear Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever and you're like, "Oh, okay. That's pretty good too." Like I'll just do this. And I think I definitely went down that rabbit hole of like, okay, like now I'm so accustomed to what a song structure is that it's
Yeah,
very rare for me to want to stray from that. So I have to compensate by hooks, because if
yeah,
you're going to basically buy into this, like if the guitar parts, like when me and Tom were in the band together, Tom DeLeo, shout out to him, I guess. uh he like we I thought we were writing really cool, interesting guitar parts,
yeah,
and they worked very well together. But like now it's just like, okay, we're just a different type of band. And sometimes
yeah.
somebody will be like, oh, you guys used to be like more of a punk band. I'm like, I guess I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
I
really
used to
know
be more
what's.
of a punk than I am today. I can't keep. You're always going to evolve. I mean, I was listening to like our first EP. Some awesome like interplaying guitar parts or like really cool like counterpoint and shit. I don't write in terms of that. I'm playing voicings and chords I would never play today. I mean, they still sound cool, but it's just not where my hands go anymore because I think it does. All the bands just smooth out and get mellower as you go along. I mean, I remember when Bad Religion put out the New America, and I was like, what are they trying to be like friggin' Blink 182? Like, but you originally you do that as you get older. You just slow and then you have the Return to Form record after, like where you
There,
try to like get back
yeah.
to your roots.
Yeah. Well,
You're
so
in a
many
band.
other aspects of anyone's life is going to change as
Yeah,
years go by. So why
But
wouldn't that?
I remember seeing Smashing Pumpkins, and we'll bring it back to your cover because that's an interesting cover. I
Yeah.
remember seeing Smashing Pumpkins probably at MSG or something, or maybe it was around when Adore came out, and then they played Zero, and then they're like, "You see, we could still rock," and it like stuck in my head because I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's like I guess they still can, but they were not in going in that direction at that time.
I
They
mean it's
were
hard when you
just
don't have a drummer. I guess you're going to evolve into Portishead at that point, but it's
ah,
like,
I love
and I like
Adore.
Adore. Don't get me wrong, I do.
Yeah.
I think everything after it I find to be relatively unlistenable. Because and that's
Uh,
that's on that's my ears. I can't get
I
down with
agree.
baritone riffs, dude. I've tried so many times to do it. I like Rock Lobster and Living La Vida Loca, but those are the only two I think I like. Like just that I can't fuck with bands that roll like that. I just something about it never worked for me. And he went
I
so into the drop C, drop B shit. Like Prison Section Tool, that's another one. But there's really not too many I like, like
well, there's some like I could put together like a good full album of everything post that era,
the
everything
latest
that.
triple album had a couple of bright spots, but none of it's as good as Gish or Siamese Dream. So what are you doing?
It's
I have
so
a
much too. Like
It is too much. Like
it's so
three.
much. I
a-
tried. I'm like, I can't do this. And the
Yo,
whole thing.
after the Sire, which was a double album, and I'll tell you, Sire, CYR. Um,
that's the one with like Sam Hain. That song's all right.
there's some
Right.
really good
Yeah.
stuff on there, I think. But it's just different to be like it's not like Siamese Dream or Gish because it's like,
Well, of course,
that
because he's not that guy anymore.
fucking 30
He's
years
not
ago.
getting Dennis Rodman wasted and making him miss games and getting himself banned from the fucking Bull Stadium anymore.
But also it's just like, you just, the shit that you listened to then like really like found its way into your soul.
Yeah, of course.
Like you hear
Sure.
that and you're just, you have like we were just mentioning your son. It's like you kind of don't really have a care in the world. He has no idea.
Yeah.
But
Not.
like you're there listening to like Siamese Dream for the
I love
hundredth
how he has no
time.
idea about anything. Like my wife's like, "Oh, we ordered him some gifts for Easter. One's not going to show up on time." I'm like, he's not going to notice.
Yo, I say that my brother when my brother had his one of his kids, I forget which one it was, but it was like his first like their first birthday and this and that. And I'm thinking like, bro, I'm like, do you even slightly remember your first birthday? Like,
Hell no.
what is the point
You
of
wouldn't
all
be able
this?
to because you have no frame of reference for it because you don't understand anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like like this is for
It's
you.
about the
This isn't
parent
for
at
them.
that point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's for
Yeah.
you, not them. So
my
This
kid
is my party.
my kid's gonna
yeah.
think he had PTSD because the photo of him at his first birthday is we're handing him this cake and he's crying because he thinks he has to eat this whole fucking thing himself, probably. Like,
Oh,
like
well,
what?
listen,
It's such a funny picture. It's like he's terrified by it. It's hysterical.
I love cake, so don't threaten me because I'll he could tag me into that. So all right, so you guys do a cover of Zero on the latest record. Why that song?
Yeah, I love that song. I just love those harmonics. It's just something I wouldn't write, and I always want to do things that I wouldn't do. I find that interesting if that makes any sense. Like to break up the monotony of it, because I think at this point, as a band, in the paradigm of the way we work, we've done everything we can do. I don't know how much further there is to go in any direction. So it's like I like to, find little elements to garnish it up where I can. And I thought that was a song I don't necessarily have the quirkiness that Billy Corgan has in his voice, but I could do it in my range, and we could do a very, very faithful cover of it. The only thing that we really changed, we made it slightly a little heavier with a little bit of muting and stuff that I always felt could have been in there. But aside from that, it's pretty much like, when we do a cover, we either totally make it our own, like we did the Cars Drive for Jazz like thing, and that was
Oh
like
yeah, 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 yeah,
totally, totally a rework of the song, like from our own lens, or we do
yeah.
it
That
like
was cool.
Zero, where it's thanks, and it was pretty faithful to it. So
Yeah,
I thought it was something we could do that worked, and it was like we started playing it around Halloween because like that and Pet Cemetery are good like spooky songs to bring out around then. And I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
you know what? We were in the studio, we were starting the record, we were doing La Luna and Outsiders. We got Lee there, the drums are set up. Let's just fucking do Zero while we're at it, and we did. So that was kind of it too. It was kind of like we were here. Why don't we just do it? Like
it's I don't think I love that band too much to ever be able to pick a song, and if I did, it would be something so obscure that it might as well be our song, where people will be like, "What? Like who is this?" Like, oh, Smashing Pumpkins cover, but Zero is just it's perfect enough where it's not their
Yeah.
biggest song, but it's very recognizable enough.
yeah.
So besides Smashing, obviously Smashing Pumpkins big influence, but I don't know a lot about your background. Like what's like the first what lit the fire? Like what was your band? What was the thing that like made you go music? You know what I mean? What was your early remembrances like influence?
I mean, We Are the World, We Are the Children. I remember that like being like on MTV at all times. I mean, like the first song that like was in my head where I remembered the words, you could sing along. And from that
Sure.
point on, I was hooked on MTV. And I was
Yeah.
just like in my room, like drawing pictures. I didn't have posters yet. I would like draw like Whitesnake and Bon Jovi and shit. And like That was just the stuff I was into, and Motley Crue, and then I had all those tapes like Rat, Warrant, Crocus, like you fucking name it, Cinderella.
Wow,
But
you
like
went for
I was
Crocus
into,
too.
yeah, Screaming in the Night, man, that was my shit.
Yeah,
But
that
No,
dude
but
had
I was
impressive chest hair. I
no.
remember a
Who,
lot of
Brian
chest
or the
hair
singer?
and like a
yeah,
bro. Oh, both. He had
third
like a
grade, I
tight,
was,
tight. He had like a perm.
oh, he had
Yes.
he had the dude from Foreigner's head on his chest, like he was no joke. But then I didn't, but it wasn't. I didn't want to be a musician. Yeah, I just was so into it. Then it was. I saw Welcome to the Jungle. That was it. It was Guns N' Roses. It
Yeah,
was like I wanted to be Axl, Slash, and Duff. I wanted to be all of them. Like I think that was it. That was Appetite. I remember, and I wasn't allowed to have the record because of the bad words on it. So like my mom like took my cassette and like taped to a cassette the songs that weren't as bad, even though they were still pretty bad anyway. You know what I mean? Like she
Wow.
took out like It's So Easy and Out to Get
Best,
Me, and then she
best
gave up
song
by
on
the
the
time You're
record.
Crazy was on. You know,
Yeah.
I
Best
know.
best song on the album is It's So Easy. Yeah.
Yeah, not like I didn't go to my friend's house and get them back a week later. I mean,
that's
shit,
Yo,
some
dude. A good
pretty
thing.
thorough shit to like edit and
Oh,
re-record it, and she had to listen to
I'll
it, taking notes, and like, all right, drop
it
that
would
you got
it would have
time to fucking do this, right? You can't go food shopping, right?
yeah, it would have been great. It would have been great if she re-recorded the songs for him. She's like, Brian, I'm going to do my own version of It's So Easy. I'm gonna change the lyrics.
Get a karaoke background tape,
She could do
re-sing
that.
Did
She couldn't learn how to not overcook a steak, but whatever.
uh,
Sorry, sorry,
do,
mom. I love you.
Hey yo,
do you feel? Did you feel? Representation that both you and Axel had red hair.
Definitely. Besides Tiffany, I can't think of any other like redheaded big
Simply Red.
stars.
Don't sleep on Simply Red.
You know what? Simply Red, Spandau Ballet, like all those bands, I didn't were kind of just passing out. I love the song from the Breakfast Club, but new wave besides the Cure, I didn't really get into until a little later. I love Crowded House too for some reason. They,
Mm.
they like really stuck with me. But yeah, it was Appetite was like the thing, and then I started playing guitar, and then I was like, oh, this is gonna be harder than I thought. You know what I mean? Like, because yeah, you can play like Out to Get Me and a couple of the riffs, but like
I still
that
can't.
besides like I used to love her but I had to kill her, they were all really
Yeah.
hard to play, like.
Yeah, sure.
And but then Smells Like Teen Spirit comes out, and like that was like so then like Nevermind was like the next big thing, and then like Green Day and shit, like you could start
Oh
playing
yeah,
these things.
You're right, man. It's
that's what the
easy for
Ramones did for me too. Yeah.
Yeah,
so Langen, you got like
Ramones
four.
Mania too, that was another one I got where it was like, oh, I want to live, I can
Mm,
play that, like,
mm.
You got it 4 or 5 on me, and I think I got 1 or 2 on Mar. But like for like our universe, as much as we went away from Nirvana afterwards, we're like, okay, like I'm sick of this. There really was like, I mean, for me, like when Nevermind came out, like people learned how to play music to that.
oh yeah.
Like I would see local fucking kids have Nirvana cover bands, and I couldn't comprehend how to play music at that time.
I know.
But I would see people play those songs like "Rape Me" or fucking
Yeah, all of a sudden
"Smells
the
Like Teen Spirit."
football team has striped shirts with like long sleeves under them and greasy long hair, and they're fucking
Yeah,
playing fucking
that's it.
Breed.
That
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
glorious time, man.
yeah. Well, I'll be doing what do we got on a plane today and Breed. So
Sweet.
Yeah, so we used to cover Breed. It's a pretty good video on YouTube. We did like somebody filmed us in New Jersey playing Breed, and it was really good. Like the kids knew it, they were going nuts. I mean, my neighborhood now is like it's like literally walking around 1994. It's like hysterical, except all these people have no clue because they're all take themselves so seriously and aren't any fun. But like they're all this fashion wise, it's completely that shit.
I can't like when people take themselves serious. Like it's
It's
just like it even back then before the internet, like growing up, if you had no sense of humor, I just didn't want to be around you because I knew eventually I was going to say some shit
Yeah.
that was just gonna, and I'm like, I can't operate, like it's just not fun for me to be around
like
someone.
I would do things to a standard, of course, but I never thought anything I was doing was bold or fucking important. Like, get over yourself, man.
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. So real quick before I ask you what records influence this, there's the one song that I told you about that I want to mention, Fun City. I texted you And this song in particular, I was like, you did something that I've always wanted to do, was write My Fallen Angel. And I think Fun City just has this really cool mixture, like, of the best of that, old rock universe.
There's that
Uh
that story of like the innocent person who comes to the big bad city and like everything
yeah.
goes off the fucking rails. That's kind. Fortunately, like I mentioned, that story was a true story. Like down to like, I didn't really have to really embellish much. I mean, obviously, you take some creative liberties with
Sure.
making a song work within its structure, but I mean, generally, 90% of that is like word for word. Unfortunately, a person we hung out with, that was their story, start to finish. Like, like
But like as far as the music goes and the melody, like how did that all come about? Because like I said, it just it's probably my favorite song on the record. I think it
nice.
just
I mean, it's
I don't know.
basically prison bound from social distortion, but just on speed. But
Oh yeah,
it's
that's
like,
that's another. Yeah, you're right. It's like to me, that's a good one. So Prison Bound and Fallen Angel for sure. Those are the two things for sure. And I wish I
but
wrote
yeah, I
both
mean,
those
that's
songs.
one. It's funny because all of our records, any album we've ever made, it's never been the album I set out to make. It's just the world gets a hold of it as we're making it, and things happen and whatever, and they end up being what they are. And this was a song I'd been writing for a long time, like way back, like when it was like me, Justin, and Hess, like you know what I mean. And it just didn't work, it didn't gel then. But some of those lyrics were the same, and some of the parts were. And then I don't know, when I've been doing a lot of open mics at Bar Frida, like before Killian was born. Now you can't even get in the line down the street with all the new stars from parts unknown who have moved here. But
Yeah,
like it was
both
an
both.
easy.
I was gonna say both shows we played there were pretty nicely attended, just random. I'm like,
Yeah,
who the
yeah.
fuck? Who are these people?
Dude,
God.
they're open mic, Jesus Christ. But I did, I didn't want to keep. I was going there every Monday, and you do two songs, and I don't like to repeat myself. I do like one. If one had done well, I'd do it again. But in general, this was an easier type thing to play acoustically and translate. So I started working on it again, and it just clicked. All of a sudden, the parts were there, and it was like, all right. And I wanted to do it like I was very clear with Pete mixing it on the notes. I rarely do a song where I sing both parts, like where I do I'm sorry, I do all my harmonies and stuff, but I don't usually do harmonies throughout an entire song. I wanted to do like Simon and Garfunkel, like Sound of Silence type thing, where I just where it's like the two voices in this
Oh yeah,
harmony, because it adds extra sadness and moroseness to, like, I wanted that feel. You know what I mean?
I'm a
Like
big
so
fan. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. It happens rarely, but yeah, like the double vocal for something. It just you'll never do it live. Obviously, it's just one of those things that it's such a part of the production part of it. But yeah, when you listen to it, it's like, yeah, for sure. I'm a fan of that.
yeah, so that was kind of, all those parts finally clicked, and then we made the song work. I mean, some of these songs are brand new, but some of them kick around for a while, as you know. Sometimes you have a riff you're working on for like years, and then one day, like in a dream, the next part just comes out. Like,
Well, also like you guys are mostly fans of the full album, where obviously I've ventured off into like the single or the EPs and stuff like that. I know you just
well,
dropped a single as well. What's the name of that song? What's the name of the new song?
racing to the red lights.
Yeah, so just basically give us like the game plan for what you're doing coming up.
Well, let me to take it back to the label. So the thing with being on a label though is that you have the freedom now. So you write something, you put it out, you can do what you want, put it out when you want. Now you're in the system where like you want to do certain things and people are telling you no. So that's the only thing that's kind of like, it's great that someone paid to make our stuff, but now they have certain control about our schedule. And back in like late 2020, I was kind of like, world's almost over. I was like, I love the album as a format, but I was like, it's not happening right now in the world. I'm like, what we should do is release each song once a month. That's what I wanted to do. And they're like, no, the consultants say that, it's good to have a big drop at once because there's more things that can get picked up by the algorithm and this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, once you're listening to consultants, that's already bad news, because once they know about it, people have already moved on to the next thing. I'm like, I wanted to do that, got overrided, put out the record, didn't really do what I wanted it to. So this time it was more like, all right, if we have to go that route again, at least put out like 4 or 5 singles in advance of it. I mean, bands are putting out 7 or 8, and then they're just putting them all together at the end with like one more,
Yeah.
whatever. So that was kind of the
Mhm.
gist. We were able to do 4, and then drop the record, and that was really good because all the algorithm that picked up those songs to a degree. Then when the record dropped, it actually ended up in people's release radars. This new single's not doing that as well, but I think when we compile some of the new B
It's
sides we're going to put out onto an
all
EP,
over
we might get
mine.
another shot with it. Yeah.
It's all over mine. Like whenever I open up Spotify, it's like it's like a
Well, I
feature.
appreciate it, man. You're like one of like the 5 people that are getting it.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
awesome, man. But I mean, I can just see the metrics, and I try not to get like I don't want that to dictate my happiness, but I do try to like
Sure.
I find it interesting how like now you open and you look at it, who's playing it, where's this playing, why is this happening and not. It's interesting to see this contrasting the opening day of the album. All of a sudden, when I woke up in the morning, there were like a couple thousand plays, whatever, and it was all the release radar driving it, as opposed to the single, not so much this time. But we'll see. I just got on a couple playlists. We'll see if that like turns it around. Who knows?
Yeah,
But ultimately, I don't give a fuck.
it never makes sense to me. Like I sent one out to release radar for our last one, and it did whatever, and then I guess automatically Spotify added one that we didn't pitch, and then that hit
That
everyone's
happens
really.
too. Yeah,
And that was the first time it happened for us, and it like fucking like
yeah.
blew through, and I was just like, holy shit! I'm like, okay, like it did like
Yeah,
30
we
times.
had pitched break and enter, and they were like, "Nah, that's not happening." And they put falling through, and it went much bigger. That's
Okay,
how it is.
yeah. All right. So wrapping up
And
here,
nobody knows. Like
no one does.
I was gonna say, like no one knows, man. That's the whole thing with music. Like you just take shots, you get an at bat, you see what happens. But the world we're in, we're not getting any real money behind us. That's the only way to really, get things through the gate. And unless like one of the bands on the label, like Carolyn, like they do well.
Oh,
Somehow they had a
they're
song that
doing
just did two
great.
hundred thousand.
I,
No, they're great.
I
They have great
I'm
songs. That's what
playing
matters.
with them next week. No, next month. So I'm doing a
So you're
solo
playing that
show with
fest on
them.
my birthday?
Yeah, the 27th or 28th of April.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna stop by and try to maybe catch lunch with those guys or something. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know them, and I saw that you guys were on the same label, and I was like kind of
They all of
blown
a
away.
sudden, man, they just got picked up. One of their songs did good. All of a sudden, guys in Germany heard it and invited them over, and they went and toured there twice. Like that's just how it happens sometimes. You
Yeah.
like compare it to look, they are super talented. They're awesome guys. I love them. But like, you ever have that friend? Every time you go to a gas station, they buy a scratch off and win like $60. Like that's just those dudes.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
work at it, but like they have luck, man. Like you need that too. Like
Listen, anytime you're big in Germany, that's luck. Udo
yeah,
Dirk,
them and Hasselhoff.
you got that Udo Dirk Schneider cosign.
Ooh, no.
You got that Udo
Balls to the wall,
cosign,
man.
and
Yeah.
yeah, that's hot in the streets. So, I asked you to just pick some albums that have influenced you later in life, maybe have influenced you in the making of this last record. And so give me some of those, and then we could wrap.
Oh man, I wrote them down on my phone, but now I can't look at them because I'm on Zoom. So I'm gonna have to wing it, man. It's funny. I started listening to Trouble Gum from Therapy. That was like a record I loved a lot as
Interesting.
like a teenager and shit. Like I think I was getting back into them. Um,
They got like new music out, and they're still
yeah, yeah, I listened to it.
they never stopped. And our buddy Tom Bennett is like a big therapy fan, and yeah, man, he's still championing them like 30 years later at Beery's.
Ongoing joke, like song, like after that era, they had this song called "6 Mile Water." Like the first line is, "We got drunk and ended up in a shit-filled sandpit," and then like I think a member of the band died. And I was so bummed that I texted my buddy Buckman, who was also the only other person I was a therapy fan. I'm like, oh, the dude died. He's like, did they bury him in a shit-filled sand pit? I was like,
Jeez.
I don't know, real inside joke, I guess. But like, but love the band. I listened to that and to bring you my love from PJ Harvey. I got like really back into just like I don't know, gave me an excuse to be more. Like I don't really curse in my songs, but I'm like, man, she can be fucking like vulgar. I'm gonna fucking be vulgar a little bit, like um.
I never
What else?
even I never like censor myself, but I never really think about it. Even like when we're like uploading stuff and it's like, does this song have a curse? I really have to go through the lyrics because I never I'm like, maybe it does, but I don't remember.
I think maybe your mom and that Guns N' Roses album might have
Yeah, I think
filtered
that's
that
it.
into you, man.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
in
Work.
our common when we speak, I just can't stop. It just pops out. But I try
Yeah.
when I write lyrics and stuff, I think of it more of as like an assignment. So I try to unless there's a I don't want to use like a curse word should be powerful. It should be like an emphasis. There should be a
Right.
reason why. Like our new song, Racing the Red Lights. Yeah, that one's got one in there because it belongs there. You know what I mean? I'm not just trying to like channel my Zach De La Roca and throw a motherfucker to sound bad sometimes. Like I want it like to actually be poignant, like grab attention, like
I have an
although this by this
idea.
point it's going.
I was gonna say I think I the next EP I might just curse all through it.
All
Yeah.
curses.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
don't know,
Call it all
just to see.
curses.
Yeah, or cursed, you know. Fucking lick twat, cocksucker, motherfucker. I mean, there's only a few of them. I guess I'm gonna have to add in some
Or
extra
But it's how
ones.
maybe
you
like
gotta like
maybe have the song like about a certain word and like pay tribute to the word fuck and like instances of it,
or
Seven,
you can
and
use
then
yeah,
shit.
terms,
And
yeah.
seven
Or use
songs.
use curses that are curses not here. Like you want to like use some cool British curses that are on a level that we're not on, It's
You're
awesome.
sure.
right.
You know what I mean?
That's another that's another option. I know we're very big in the
Yeah.
UK.
They're allowed
So
to say cunt and it'd be charming though. Like doesn't have the same play when you're American and say it. Everyone
yeah,
looks at you like you farted.
yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can only think of
might have to do
that
that.
song "Bad Obsession" from Guns N' Roses. I can't think of anyone else that uses that even
Well,
like
also
besides death metal. Like
Anthrax.
Of course.
okay,
Anthrax, right? Starting up a posse. Well,
Uh
I'm starting up a posse. You see, I can't do it. They already did it. So actually, we could do a
that's
cover
right.
of Queens of the Stone Age "Feel Good Hit of the Summer" and just replace the drugs with curses.
oh there
There
you
you
go.
go.
Sample
You
George
want that
Uh,
Cohen.
parental advisory sticker going
Working.
for.
That's it. So like
You
Brian's
don't want
mom will be
Walmart to
like,
carry your
Yeah,
shit.
we
Brian's
we put
mom.
the parental advisory on our record, man. It's got to hold it down.
When you were
Brian's
a
mom
kid though,
will.
like if it didn't have that on it, you didn't even want it. Like I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
fuck with
fuck
this.
crash
Where's
test
the
dummies, these
sticker?
pussies.
Well, I'll always bring up the time that I bought that House of Pain album that was censored, and they had that song
Ooh,
"Shit Kick." Put on your shit kickers and kick some shit. It was like,
Oh,
put on your and kicks. Put on your and kick. And like
what's worse when they drop the word out or they give it like a little zipper sound effect? Which one's
uh,
more off-putting?
or they ad lib a different word. I remember like what it's like. Remember like
Mm,
when like after 9/11, every single word had to be edited from every radio song, and like every last what it's like you couldn't even say "smoke the finest green," like "smoke the green," like
yeah.
that backwards shit. But
Or
yet there's always songs where they
Jimmy
let them
World was
curse.
like, "No bleed American for you."
But how come? But then who are you, right? From the Who, he says, "Who the fuck are you?" on Q 104.3 5 times a day, and they never edit. Why
mm,
is that one allowed to go through? You know what I mean? Like, bring that shit in from Ray. That one never gets cut for some reason. I don't like.
selective.
Yeah,
Racism.
I
maybe.
That's
used
what
to
I
love. I used to sometimes. I remember growing
say.
up watching movies on like Channel 9 with the edit, like the Breakfast Club. I saw edited more than the other ones. I'd be like, "No, Dad, flip you," and I almost
Oh
like grew
God,
to like love the horribly edited ones
I
because
remember
they're so funny.
Young Guns. Reap the world when you buzzard.
Yo, I remember Scarface. Where'd you
God,
get that scar from, tough guy? Eating pineapple? He's like, how
It's
am I gonna
great.
get a scar like this from eating pineapple? It's just like, wow. All right, pineapple kind of works
I love
really
like
good.
when they overdub in a wildly different voice too. You can kiss my eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Back then they were just like, yeah, whatever. It's just,
Yeah, I
you know.
didn't give a
Channel
fuck.
11 PIX movie of the afternoon.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Marvin Scott, man. I don't know what he's up to, but he was definitely holding down on Channel 11 for a minute. Anything else that you've been digging up that's been influencing your anthemic wrist?
I mean, I don't even know. See, I just, constantly, we always got music on in the background. I'm always like, I've been recollecting records as old dads do now, but only for this reason that I'd like there to be a decent library for my son. Just because I'm not convinced Spotify is going to exist in 10 years. I don't know that like Apple or any streaming platform will, because businesses change, and if something becomes not lucrative anymore, which it already isn't, things go under. So I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket, even with like, who knows, maybe all servers will go down. There'll be a solar storm that destroys the internet. You know what I mean? Like, who fucking knows? So I want to like have
Good
some
point.
physical copies still for like him to have reference of if he's into it. So I've been trying to recollect a lot of things and putting them on. Mostly the records I found influential in my formative years. But as far as that, like what else have I been listening to? Like to go back to?
Or what's an
Um
album? What's an album that has never changed for you that you've always just loved and that's really just inspires you as like a songwriter?
I mean, still Recipe for Hate from Bad Religion, like when they first jumped to Atlantic and it
Oh,
kind of became alternative, like I
yeah.
like them more then. That one
That's
never gets old. There's a couple records that just never get old for you. It's the 59 sound. I didn't always feel happy when I put it on. It just never gets old. You know what I mean? Like, and he wrote that start to finish almost consecutively. That I can't do. Like, it's always where the day takes me when it comes to writing. Like,
yeah. Yeah, Recipe for Hate's so good. Just like everything on there. Like just unbelievable fucking stuff. You could
and just the tones of it. Eddie Vedder, kind of unknown guest star, singing backups in two of the songs.
yeah.
It's
Oh
pretty
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. But definitely Gaslight 59 sound. So cool. Yeah, I mean, same for us as far as Gaslight. As I get older, I identify a lot with, Brian Fallon and what he does. Even it took me a minute to get into the solo records that he put out, but I finally came
Yeah,
there's some
I,
good stuff.
I like painkillers. My issue with like sleepwalkers, if you're getting like, all right, I feel like you should be allowed. You're allowed to use the same progression once a record, maybe. When you have 14 songs and it's all the same fucking progression, dun, 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 dun. It's in every song, and then every time I listen to it, I waited, and every song, without fucking doubt, except the title track, was the only song I like. Fucking every single one had the same progression. So I'm like, oh, you motherfucker. Then he put out Local Honey. Every fucking song's got the same progression. Even that Brian Adams knockoff song, they've all got it. Which, look, I get it. It's decent stuff. I'm happy history books didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, there's enough, and the progression is on there, but he didn't overuse it. You know what I mean? It's like you can't cook with too much sugar. You got to mix it up a little bit. Like then for my ears, and my ears are in my crazy head. So.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. To me, it just comes down to the song. And, I would always notice, Matt Skiba, Alkaline Trio, where Dan progressed, I think, as a songwriter. I think Matt definitely stayed in his lane and, kept it very ADE.
Yeah, he is another
Uh,
guy who like I don't like. If you're gonna do a step out of your band and do a solo record, it shouldn't just sound like an Alkaline Trio record. Like I would never listen to a David Gilmour record because it's just Pink Floyd. It sounds exactly the same. Like there's no difference to it. Like I like if you're gonna come outside of your band, do something fucking wild. Do something that like people aren't expecting, something advanced. Like just
I
for like my taste. I don't
No,
know.
no, no, for sure. Listen, Alkaline Trio, like those guys, Dan and Matt are like two of my favorite songwriters on the planet. Everything that they've done outside of that band, I do not give one fuck about. Maybe Heavens, maybe,
The
because
Heavens
it's
sounds like Alkaline Trio. It's not that different. It's still like the
but
tone and the construction
but
of the songs.
it's more of like it has more synth and new wave. It sounds like Alkaline Trio demos, basically. But listen, may we all find that success, which we never will. So
But hey, look, the new record I'm liking. I mean, like all of a
I
sudden,
love it.
it's got like hair metal influence to it. They're using heavier riffs. They're doing things I've not heard them do. So that's like, I like that. I like that when bands just continue to evolve and not repeat themselves. Because like, you already
I
made the
like
last
both.
record, man. You
I know,
know?
but I like both. Like to me, if one record, is if if you make two records and they sound the same, but they're all good, like I don't really care. Like I don't
All
need
right,
people.
fine. You get two in a row. You have like a smash. Like, fine. You have friggin' Diary and the Pink album. They basically are the same thing. You have 59 Sound and American Slang, same producers, same kind of structures. Like, fine. I'll give you two. The third record, you better do something fucking different. Like I don't know.
You have
But
Crocus
you don't like
self-titled.
AC/DC, probably. I mean, they've
Well,
been
you have a singer switch in the middle of there, so I'll give you prop.
yeah, true.
I'll give you after the record after Back in Black, yeah, I think they're all right.
Yeah,
Kind of
agreed.
fun. I don't know. Something about AC/DC though doesn't bother me as much because
They get a pass.
what you're getting with AC/DC. Like
Mhm.
at least I don't know. I'm trying to think of a better way to put it, but
What would
they don't have to reinvent the wheel to still make it work. Like
Right.
there's a few that obviously there's exceptions to every rule. Like they don't bother me as much, but like I can't keep listening to like Millencolin or something because every record sounds exactly the same. Like
Right.
what would Keel do?
Keel would go country, man, and he
That's
traded in like
yeah.
his hairspray for an old pickup truck, man. You knew what he was doing.
every
That quote is
I
like
know.
so. I'll never forget it. Like I'll
I'll
remember it on
never.
my
Yo,
deathbed.
all three of us will never forget it because I'll never forget watching that. Where are they now? And first
Didn't
of
he
all,
have
I
like
was
a
like,
hound dog in there and
first
shit?
of all,
Like
first
First
of
off,
all,
I barely knew who that guy
yeah,
was. That he was
I
getting
did.
that much attention.
I
the
knew
band
who every
sucked.
I knew who everyone was, and when that guy said I traded in the yachts and the mansions, I'm like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? What traded it in because what they got repossessed? Like, how did you get
I
any of this shit?
I refer to Fed because he was more of that era, and he's like that guy has street cred, I guess. But I don't know, like I guess. But then again, there was so much money to go around, like
You're
that.
right. Yeah.
Maybe even
Probably.
Anvil got a big advance back then,
I
right?
was just gonna say, like growing up though, like I still like, and I was a metalhead from the jump. Like I never knew anyone fucking with Anvil or Keel. Like
No.
nobody
No.
was ever wearing that shit. The only Keel thing I ever remembered was he was in this band Steeler. That was Yngwie Malmsteen's first band when he came
Yeah.
over here and he signed or whatever. That's the only thing I knew about that guy until that fucking pickup truck
Until
bullshit.
that video, I'm like, oh, no more Keel. I was like, wait, who the fuck is Keel? It's like that scene in Three Amigos where he's going to everyone. He's like, Jose, remember? He's like, kill the horses,
I know what I'm going
Right
to be
up on New
looking up
England.
on YouTube tonight from
prune the
Keel.
hedges.
See what he's up to.
You're gonna go down a Keel rabbit hole. Oh, Keel owns a pawn shop venue in South Dakota. That's
That
actually
sounds
really
about
nice.
right.
A lot of bands play there. That's what he's doing.
All right.
Because I looked into trying to get booked one time. Like,
Yeah, like, oh, is this the Keel? He's like, sure, sure.
yeah, it's
We
Ron
could
Keel. He's out
probably
there,
get,
man.
I think we could get him, Sam.
Oh, without a doubt. If we can get Bryan Maher of Black Suit Youth and Brian Parker of Sky Came Falling, I feel
Dude, the guy
like
from Black
Keel.
Label Society is on your latest one that's out right now. I'm pretty sure you can get Keel. I mean,
I mean, in all
I didn't grow up
fairness,
with Ron Keel,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, Ron Keel's not in
Unfortunately.
Matatuck.
I am pretty sure you could give Kevin Bacon to Keel if you need to.
Yeah.
Then
You
I'm going
might
to have to learn about Keel, though, and write and think about what should I ask Ron Keel.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be
That'll be
funny if you
so
do get
hard.
him and he watches this episode for reference of what this is.
It's over.
Yeah. He'd be like, I was going to say yes, and then I had time to kill, and I listened to your stupid episode with the guy from Black Suit Youth. And
Make sure you follow us.
but all right, I'll put links for the new
Yeah.
record. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah,
Maybe
man,
you'll come
thanks.
back. Maybe you'll come back for 187. Who knows? If this
Mhm.
episode blows up
Around the
and
corner.
the crowd needs you in another
I thought we
6
were out.
episodes.
I thought mathematically we were almost there, but I guess we fell a little short of it.
No, so I don't know. We've done way over 187 because we've done the presents. We've done just the like crossover stuff. Like,
But actual
Oh, yeah.
numericals, I thought the last one you put up was like 183 or something.
I should probably know. I don't.
no, it's
Because you can hold
170.
me back to
I'm
187 if it's not up there yet.
No, 180.
We were going for Keel for 187.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, you know what? If we get killed for
Parker was
187,
179.
yeah,
So we're right almost there.
that's it. So,
Shout out to Parker. All right.
yeah, I play drums. Yeah, I love
Played
when
a
we
lot of
asked.
drums lately, you know. He Parker, I tried to do a band with in high school, and he was elusive. Like he'd show up to one practice, and then he'd vanish for like a couple of weeks, you know. But he
Gotta
could
go
fucking
play
play back
Paperboy.
then. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, he's a fucking
he had great
savage
drum
on the
rolls,
drums.
man. He was great wrists, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But to his credit, I was writing really bad songs senior year, so I could understand why
Ah,
he'd go towards remorse instead, you know.
yeah. We should ask him what he really thought, why he never showed up. So next episode, we'll be like, hey, remember when you and Bryan Maher were in a band
Whatever
together?
his excuse is better than what we were doing. He could have been sitting in his room beating off. It's better than playing with us at that point, like
Yes.
without a doubt, you know. Like
I'm sitting in my room beating off. All right, cool. So before this episode descends some more, we will talk to you.
Yeah, man.
yeah, man.
Thank you
I'll
Yeah.
see you
I'll put
guys out there in the ether, man. All right.
for the
all right,
history.
later, Brian 1, Brian 2.
Peace.
Adios. Peace.